Well, we'll get straight into the game. The big game of the weekend was Arsenal versus Chelsea. Did it go as you thought it was going to go, Glenn?
Yeah, I mean, set pieces, that's what it's all about these days, isn't it, when it comes to Arsenal? Yeah, I mean, when you look at Chelsea, they've got so much potential. You never quite know which Chelsea are going to turn up, and I think that's probably the issue, because their ceiling is so high. And I felt as though Arsenal, they stumbled across the line like we've seen them do so many times. It's becoming an art, isn't it, really?
It is, but these are the two teams that the managers put out, Leroy. Any surprises, really, with what the managers offered? Chelsea had to make a couple of changes at the back, and within that, what were both managers looking for tactically?
Well, firstly, I mean, Mamadou Sarr made his debut at the back. He's only 20 years old. Hato played at left back. I thought that Gusto might have played there with more experience, but Hato played there and he did all right. But tactically, I think this was a little bit of a surprise for Arsenal that Cole Palmer started on this right-hand side and Neto out. On the left-hand side, Neto on this right-hand side, and he played a double pivot with Andre Santos and Caicedo. Because in the League Cup, they played three at the back. So I think he wanted to more get on the front foot, but also control the game through possession, through playing out the back.
Well, let's have a look at how that affected the game, pretty much because from one point of view, that's what Chelsea tried to get, but I think we all understand that gave Jurrien Timber in particular a more space than he was probably expected.
Yeah, I think when you play Cole Palmer, you're playing for his attributes going forward rather than his desire to get back, and that kind of, I think it caused a problem, but it was a problem that they foreseen with Enzo kind of pushing out to that left-hand side and covering that, and Cole Palmer coming back in his own time to a certain extent. But yeah, that obviously, I think when you're Jurrien Timber and you go into that game and you see Cole Palmer's there, you think, I can run him the other way all day and he won't have the desire to go with me as much.
Yeah, and I think if we play this clip on, I think if you look at the position of Cole Palmer and we just stop it here, what you have to do with Cole Palmer is also give him some freedom. And he finds himself, recovering in this area, and you look at the space down that right-hand side, and Arsenal are strong there. For those first 15 minutes, I think Timber had a bit of a problem because he didn't get forward. But then when they kind of sorted it out between them, as this play this on, it did cause Chelsea a bit of a problem because he didn't really recover into that area. And Cole Palmer really should have been getting back in there. But you had Enzo Fernandez playing there, who's really diligent defensively, getting out there, but it had a kind of negative knock-on effect because then he got out there, Cole Palmer eventually gets out there, but there's a big space.
I think that's the problem there. If you just wind that back, like we see the desire for Enzo to get out there. If we just pause that, you've got two Arsenal players, and Cole Palmer needs to stay on his man here, but he kind of drifts over to the left and leaves the runner to go behind him.
You leave that there. There's a space that Enzo Fernandez has vacated, and it caused a problem.
And Cole Palmer needs to stay on this man. Is it? I can't quite.
Zubimendi.
Yeah. But he doesn't. He gets sucked into the right winger. Enzo obviously is looking, thinking, why have you not stayed on your man? And it causes an issue.
Do you think this benefited Arsenal more? Did you think Cole Palmer played well enough to justify getting that hybrid role, Leroy?
I think he's the one player that you thought that Chelsea could create through. That was going to make something happen. Look, they've got good players. I thought João Pedro was excellent. Cole Palmer is the magic. I think you need to give him that role. I don't know about you, Glenn. I thought he was just, in terms of his fitness, just a little bit off it. Just a yard, just off it. But if anybody's going to be given that role against an Arsenal side who were brilliant defensively, I think had to be Cole Palmer.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Cole Palmer is that kind of X factor. He's the one that can make something happen. But again, fitness-wise, he's not quite at his top, at his best at the moment, is he? Yeah,
you see him just making his way into the half.
Well, he's not. So the knock-on effect that had, though, was this.
Yeah.
And we show it. You're talking about Hato having to come, or feeling he has to come all the way out. There's then a knock-on effect to the centre-half, isn't there, in that position? Suddenly, everybody's getting a bit stretched.
You're a bit lopsided then,
You're a little bit lopsided. Is that a gamble that you think paid off for Chelsea? Or do you think Arsenal, having, 15, 20 minutes into the game, thought, here we go, we've found a weakness?
I think Arsenal felt that they found their weakness because all of a sudden Timber just got on the front foot. They just got on the front foot. And it changed in terms of the scoreline, but the game's about momentum. And for that first half, Sanchez had a few problems, but the momentum was swayed in Arsenal's favour just by Timber getting forward. And it's a really good example of that, because look at Cole Palmer. He runs past Hatto as the left-back, now out of position. And all of a sudden, Timber starts getting down that right-hand side. And look how stressed Chelsea are. And they get a corner from it, which is the last thing that Chelsea wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's Enzo Fernandez having to get across in a centre-half position, make a block. Cole Palmer's in this position. And I suppose it's a gamble you take to try and hopefully you win the ball back early and then you can release the ball up to Palmer in these moments.
I mean, it's easy in hindsight, isn't it? Because they lost the game ultimately and he probably didn't have the impact that Liam would have liked him to have. But that's kind of the gamble you take when you go away to the Emirates, isn't it? And I also think it's the only team that's beaten Liam's Chelsea side. So he went about it a different way. A couple of ways haven't worked, so he thought, you know what, we're gonna give him a freer role, a hybrid role, and let's see if we can undo them that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got to remember Cole Palmer, only a few weeks ago in that cup, he was being managed from the bench, so he's not 100% fit. And I think it was about keeping his energy levels up. You know, and the thing is, as we know, when you've got a special player like that who's not quite fit, but you know that he can do something for you, you're going to do the extra work. I think Chelsea were prepared to do that.
Well, they were, but I thought this was a good tactical battle. You see Timber coming all the way up, Hatto being... It ended up quite often being full-back to full-back, didn't it, in what was quite a large area of the field. But I still... I didn't think there was a huge advantage. I didn't think this was a bad thing for Chelsea. I didn't think that they completely got dominated down this side of the pitch.
No, they didn't, and it was really hard because I did this game, and at half-time they said, "Who's your player of the first half?" And I had a bit to think about it, and it was Julian Timber. But just because he got Arsenal moving forward. Look, they weren't fluid, they weren't playing great creative football, but he is the one who got on the front foot and made things happen.
Do you think they would have coped better? I personally do with a Mark Cucurella at left back.
Oh look, because Mark Cucurella is a world-class player, but the lad Hatto is 19 years old, and do you know what? What a duel he had with Bukayo Saka, and he did okay. He really did do okay, and with that tactical plan, you know, lots of people say, look, Cole Palmer should go and give shape, but you need to have something going forward. Yeah. You need to have some sort of plan to go and hurt Arsenal.
Yeah, but ultimately, I mean, this was Jurrien Timber's heat map that we'll see here. And you don't want to give, in my opinion, the best fullback in the Premier League at the moment, that much time and that much space. But I don't think that was where the game was won and lost. I think we're coming back to set pieces again. Yeah,
it wasn't where it was won and lost. Obviously, there was times and there was moments in the game where he progressed up that right-hand side. But ultimately, it didn't make the difference. And I think as far as Chelsea concerned, it was worth that gamble in trying to free what is your most creative player up.
Yeah, so, you know, ultimately that didn't make the ultimate difference in the game. Set pieces didn't. So many people have tried to stop Arsenal. So many people have tried different things. A certain guy had stood in between us, had a really positive and good idea back in November early in the season. This is what he had to say about how you stop Arsenal. Have you seen any way that you'd try and do to stop them? Yeah,
and there's something about creating space to defend, because we played against centre-half and they just said, get out of my way, get out so I can come and defend. And saw it at the weekend from a long throw. And this was Spurs against Chelsea. And look at the setup from Chelsea. They put 3 up front, and it's brought 3 Spurs players out of the equation. Now, look at the space in the box. Now, this is from a long throw. And what it does, we've got to remember, the keeper's got his hands as well. If you create that space, and I play it on, what happens is they throw it in the box, and Sanchez, who's really good at this, now he's got not too many bodies around him. What he does, he comes and he catches it.
Seems to make set pieces quite easy there.
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about. But moving on from that, in one of Liam's first games in charge of Chelsea, he actually adopted that, didn't he?
Anyone would have thought he had a hotline into Chelsea.
Well, not all the time, obviously. But, I mean, this was really interesting because...
This was the Carabao Cup game a few weeks back.
And what they did, they waited for Arsenal to take the corner, because what this did, you suddenly run out...
Just roll that back so we can see.
And I always talk about... It's not just about the setup in terms of Arsenal's corners, it's the anxiety it causes the opposition as well, the time it takes in setting it up. And then, you know, it's a big build-up, isn't it, when you're watching, and then Arsenal's corner's about to be taken, the anticipation from the crowd at Emirates that the ball's going to end up at the back of the net. But they wait till the last second to sprint out.
That's what they did, isn't it? Out.
And the anxiety just switched.
And it causes a little bit of confusion, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
If you're in the box and you're supposed to be on the attack, Glenn, what does that do to you?
It confuses you. You wonder what's happening. Because you've got to ultimately make an instant decision Because if you stay and you lose that ball, I mean, it's that gamble, isn't it? You can stay and outnumber them and maybe score a goal, but if you don't, you're outnumbered going that way, and you're going to get punished at this level of football.
Yeah.
Well, this worked, I thought, quite well on the evening. I thought you see Gabriel trying to stop the set piece being taken. Luckily for Arsenal, I think the official came in and saw something he didn't like, and it just gave.
But there's Arsenal a lot of confusion.
It gave Arsenal the time they sort of needed to readjust. But even within this, you see, they're still not sure. Capier's going back now; he's going forward. There's a lot of, as you say, uncertainty, and ultimately Chelsea went on to defend this one reasonably well.
And if you just pause it for a minute there, Leon, what this does, and Leon, Leon was really good defensively in the air, and the key was, it's not about going and winning the ball, it's about getting a challenge on. Now look at all that space in the box for the players. I would still say Arsenal got better players in the air than Chelsea in that situation. But the one thing that is clear is the goalkeeper's free, he's got hands, and everybody's now job is more defined. And it's easier. There's not bodies in or around you. And you know, Glenn, as a centre forward, you want bodies in around you because you can run round bodies and blocks appear. Well, and look, it didn't end up in the back of the net. Arsenal did get first contact, but it was defended.
But what Arsenal have done is inside that 6-yard box over recent years is caused chaos. This, for me, allows the goalkeeper to be freer, and he's not getting knocked and bullied. And whereas recently we've seen it much more like that.
Yeah, we have. Well, this is the set piece Arsenal scored from. This is the opening goal. You want to talk us through it, Leroy? Yeah,
well, look, the key man, the man who is most targeted is Gabriel on the edge of the box. And I think Reece James, look, I think maybe is, in that situation, Chelsea's best man marker because he's mobile and he's strong.
Quite a big distance to start from because there's the argument that you want to be touch tight, isn't there?
Absolutely, but
everybody else seems to be on anyone that's important in there.
Personally, I wouldn't want to get too tight to him, but there's a long way to run. It's kind of that lesser of two evils.
Absolutely, I haven't got a problem with the distance. I've got a problem with where his body's.
Well, if you run it on slightly,
I mean, his body is this way, and really he should be facing that way. So he should be sideways on.
And his eyes. I mean, from what you're saying, you're right.
He's still in that position there.
Absolutely.
He can't look at the ball and the man. From his body position, how he's marking him, he can't see both. So he takes his eye off the ball, and now Gabriel's got a run on him. He looks at the ball, he doesn't know what's going on, I just
want to take it back one second, because as well as that, I just want to keep an eye on these two. Gyökeres and Saliba. They take their men in there, but they never try to beat their men. They don't try and get across the front post. And this, we see, comes to fruition.
Yeah. And the point is, as you just take it there, now he doesn't know where the ball is. He's actually got his back to the ball. Now, we were talking about, Leon, about man marking. It is an art and it has to be worked on. And you know, you have to watch the man and the ball, but there comes a point where you know your man's the rights where you want him to be. He might disappear.
I think that's very difficult to do when you're not touch tight, because you can't feel him. You're looking at the ball and you can feel him.
Well, you feel him as much as you can until the point where the ball's going to come in, and then you've got to concentrate on the ball. Because what you do know is wherever that ball finishes at its highest point, that guy's going for it as well. So as long as you attack the ball as well, you've got a chance of not only winning it, but getting
That was the key. I think modern day defending is just doing one. Yes. They either stand in a position free and go and head the ball, or they mark and they haven't got a clue where the ball is and they're completely looking at you. Whereas, as I say, back in our day, you got in a position where you could do both. You were touch tight, I could see you, you're not getting away. I personally didn't like people running in behind me.
I didn't like marking at all.
I didn't like people running behind me, so I put my hand behind you. So the second you go, I can now use my body to repel. If you go in front, I want to go and win that. That's fine. Whereas Reece James's body position was so... Not only was he not touching, he is in a bad position. So at this moment, Gabriel's not quite in full flight, but he's certainly got a run and jump. Reece James can't do anything in that moment, because up until there, he doesn't even know where the ball. He doesn't know the ball's near him until there. At which point, Gabriel's gotten away from him,
and it's too late to change your run to kind of pick up the flight of the ball at that stage.
And in that moment, you talk about those two players in the middle there.
You can see them there and there, who are now in front of their men. And lo and behold, the first one gets the contact, not the second one. But if Saliba doesn't get it, Gyökeres is there to nod it goalwards.
We'll see it on the next one. How Chelsea felt they were going to do it once Timber and Capier run them in. They actually hope that João Pedro is going to be able to just do something in that space. You can see where Gabriel's going into it. You can see, where he's... And they're hoping João Pedro can do something in that moment. But running backwards against somebody running forwards in a leap is never going to happen.
No.
And as we just said, once you fire that back across into that position, both Arsenal players. If Saliba doesn't score it, Gyökeres is right behind him to score it.
If you break it down, he's actually not headed it in too bad of a position. He's not too dangerous. That first contact to never go in the back of the net. It's about defending that second ball. But they're already one step ahead of you with the movement of the two players, where they're ready to pick up that second ball.
Well, the defenders have done their job because we don't want them to get in front of them because the ball's come from that opposite side.
Yeah.
And all they don't need to spin around. But it's a great set piece.
Look at the reaction of those players. They know how important each goal is, and they know how important set pieces are. But that was the first set piece, and I'm watching the second set piece back. I think Sarr, I think it is, in this position, just gets himself in a very similar position with regards to not seeing the ball and not seeing the man at the same time that Reece James does in the first half.
Yeah, for me, this is very different because Saliba, you can get caught up in a physical battle with him because he's superior to Reece James as far as leap and height concerned. But here, I feel as though Sarr's got the advantage, and he does need to be touch tight to Timber. And for me, he needs to defend this much, much better. I think he can hold Timber and still look at the ball. Whereas when Gabriel's starting so far out, it's a much more difficult task.
Absolutely. And now look at Reece James. He's much tighter than he was the first time. It's been I'm not going to let you score.
Shall I highlight him? Yeah, there we go.
And it's the attitude that, again, when we played, I'm going to take responsibility for my man. And I look at this Chelsea setup and I think, I get it. You know, the spare men at the front post. But we've seen loads of people marking zonal. Doesn't work against Arsenal because they just come in above you, and they obviously keep the goalkeeper out of the equation. And this is about individual responsibility. And on this occasion, you know, Mamadou Sarr making his Premier League debut just loses out to Timber, who is so good at this.
Well, we're talking, and having started this, that is the first time he's looked at the ball. Yeah. The ball is already well within the air. The ball is mid-flight on its way, and Timber is on the move, and Timber has picked up that flight. That's why he's actually now trying to run on the inside shoulder of Sarr. Sarr can't tell at this moment. At this point, it's too late to adjust. He can't do anything about it. I think it's very good again from Arsenal. I think it's pretty weak defensively, individually from Chelsea. And I think, before you go and make your point, Liam, I think we highlight the fact that despite his protests, I think we can all agree it wasn't a foul on Sanchez within there, despite his nature being furious about it.
And it comes back to where we started this conversation. So Chelsea have thrown three players up forward, so there was space for Sanchez to come and get a punch, because it goes in the net.
It goes in that 6-yard box, doesn't it?
6-yard box. Anywhere in that 6-yard box, you expect your goalkeeper to come out. But if you throw three players out of it, not only in terms of him coming, but in terms of fouls as well, because there's so much. I say the referee saying, what should we do? There's so much going on in the box. This makes it easier for the referee to say, there has been a foul, and define that. They didn't do any and cost.
And it's impressive from Arsenal at the moment. This is their stats. It's the most goals from corners ever in a Premier League season, equaling their own record and equaling two longer-standing records. Both, I might add, if we're talking about styles, from teams you're probably talking we're in relegation battles at the time and we're doing everything they can to get a goal. Arsenal, they don't mind it. They don't necessarily score open play goals, do they?
Well, what I do think they've done, and I think Mikel Arteta's done, is they've changed the Premier League. They've made set pieces so important that people are following this kind of physicality that they're put together now, and we can see how important it really is.
So it's a record with plenty of games still to go. I think it's the 11th corner that's put them ahead in a game, the 9th, and I think that's a record. Match-winning corner kick that gets them the 3 points. How does that compare to other title winners and other teams that have competed for titles over the last so many seasons? What does that tell you, Leroy?
It means that at the moment, this is the reason why they're going to get over the line. Because 27.6%, I mean, that's absolutely an incredible stat. I mean, compared to Man City in second, 10.5%.
But even when you compare it to the champions of recent, it is incredible. It's nearly double all of them.
Absolutely. Key moments, when you need a goal, set pieces come to the rescue.
Is that going to get them over the line, or is that potentially going to be Achilles' heel if teams defend better against them, Glenn? Because, that's just, them numbers haven't been seen.
This is something that they've been building for 2.5 seasons. This isn't something that's new on the Premier League. And so far, no one's been able to get the grips with it. That stat just keeps getting better and better.
What's fair?
Something different. Am I reading too much into that? Do Arsenal need more control at the end of games?
No, I think they'd want more control. I do think it's frantic at the moment, but that's because it's pressure of trying to get over the line and winning that Premier League. Every game they know is important at the moment because they know Man City have been there, seen it, done it. And you can hear, obviously, the frustration from fans, in particular when you're playing from home. I think away from home, it's different, but at home, the pressure's there. And it's going to be difficult. The fans are going to have to play a big part from now to the end of the season and get behind the team because there's going to be moments. There's going to be other moments where the players are going to be a bit nervous. But that's to be expected. They're in a title race and they've been fantastic. So they just need the fans. But yeah, they just need to stick together. And I think recently they have done that and got some positive results. That was a positive result against Chelsea because that 1-1, you're looking and you're thinking you're a bit nervous for Arsenal. This can go either way. And they get the second goal and they go on and get the 3 points. And you can see at the end what it meant, in particular to Gabriel, the way he celebrated. He knew how much of a big win that was for Arsenal.
Who's going to win the league?
No one can predict that now. No one. No one can tell you because it's up and down. I've said it many times. When it was Liverpool were playing Man City and Liverpool, you thought we're going to win that game. That would have been 9 points. I thought the title race would have been over. I still think, and I've said it many times on this show, I said it on Soccer Saturday and other shows I've done at Sky, it will go down to the Carabao Cup. Whoever wins that will win the Premier League because what you got to realise is if Arsenal don't get over the line in that game, it's one of those where you've not got over the line again, and then you're thinking, when are we going to be able to, defeat Man City and get over the line and get that trophy? And then they play each other 2 games later, and that's the big game. And I think, and if City go ahead in this title race, it's all over because Arsenal will not catch Man City. I
think you're leaning more towards Man City.
I probably am at this moment in time, but for me, Arsenal are still favourites because they're still top of the table and they're still winning it. The only reason I'm leaning slightly towards Man City at the moment is because they've been there, seen it, done it. But is this the same Man City that we've seen of previous seasons? Probably not. But defensively, they look stronger when Diaz is playing there with Mark Gay and they're getting their players back. So at this moment in time, I'd still say Arsenal are the favourites.
No!
There you go. You're not going to try and make me say I'm leaning to City.
I think you are.
I've always said the Carabao Cup, so
no,
I'm
your
not
language, I'm interpreting it as you're leaning towards Man City.
Well, I'm going to say Arsenal are still favourites at the moment.
OK, right, that's clear.